Today, former President Donald Trump is back on the trail in battleground Pennsylvania, fresh off his massive rally in Butler with Elon Musk, who's reportedly planning more appearances with the campaign. Pittsburgh-based columnist and Washington Examiner national political reporter Selena Zito spoke to Musk at the rally over the weekend about the stakes of this year's election. She joins us now with what she learned. Selena, you've been on top of this. You predicted the Trump rise back in 2016. I know Elon is registering people to vote in PA. What is the race looking like right now there?
So the race has been tight, obviously, if you look at the polling, but I think I would still give the edge to former President Trump in that he is making appearances along with Ohio Senator J.D. Vance in the areas that are most important, right? A lot of people focus on Pittsburgh and Philly and Pittsburgh, but honestly, the race is run in places like Cambria County and in Scranton and in Luzerne County and Erie and Northampton. And that's where you have physically seen them nonstop. And those are the counties that are going to decide this race. Pennsylvania has moved rightward, and I don't think a lot of people have known that incremental change.
So Musk said this in the interview. He said that he recognizes that the people here in Butler and in places all across the country not located in the center of power and wealth are the ones most concerned about protecting and preserving both free speech and the Second Amendment. And I guess my question is, when you...
Isn't it kind of odd that only a certain amount of people in this country want to protect the Second Amendment and free speech? What happened to the people who have been so brainwashed that they don't feel like they should protect free speech and the Second Amendment? How did the libnuts basically flip people to the point where they don't want to uphold the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, nor the Electoral College? I can probably wager an answer here. Our school systems are screwed. We have raised a legion of kids, thankfully not my grandkids, but a legion of kids who are in these colleges and they're nothing but indoctrinated. And the hypocriticalness of it, the irony is they're out there protesting. They're out there screaming river to the sea, not realizing that the First Amendment even gives them that right to do so. They're out there burning the American flag, not realizing, that First Amendment thing that you don't like, that gives you the right to do that. How stupid are you that you think you can just go up and deface a building or, write something on a statue or paint a crosswalk and arrest people who do wheelies or donuts across that rainbow crosswalk at the same time that you're telling other people they shouldn't have a First Amendment? You have to be a special kind of stupid, a very special kind of stupid, not to understand that.
Look at in the race right now.
Oh, it's the economy. It really is the economy.
Isn't it always the economy? Why are people surprised by that? It's not baby removal. Nope, not that. It's not Ukraine. Nope. It's always going to be the economy. So how could so many people possibly be voting against their own self-best interests? They pay mortgages, they pay rent, they buy groceries, they buy gas. And how could you possibly look at this woman and say, hey, yeah, I'd like to vote for Kamala? Fortunately, the wheels are starting to come off. Late, but they're coming off.
Have never gone down. Yes, inflation has gone down, but those costs that peaked at 9% are still there. They never moved, and they've still moved up incrementally at 2%, 3% since that high water mark. And voters are feeling that pinch, not just with their groceries, not just with gas, although that's gone down a little bit, but also
when she says went down a little bit, also understand it's gone down from the high. it's still way higher than it was.
Insurance cost and cost to build things, improve their homes. Everything is sort of at a standstill, and people are making choices they didn't think they'd have to expect to make because of how their pocketbook is being pinched.
One thing about...
All right, so let me set the stage for these next two videos. That first one was basically an appetizer for you, where you're starting to see a little bit, there's a fissures, there's some cracks in the Kamala army. It's really starting to, it's really starting to happen. So Mark Halperin here, who used to be on MSNBC, now he runs some consulting thing for Democrats. He's about to tell the Democrats, you're in trouble.
The vice president, that if you've studied her career, including her time in California as a senator, as a presidential candidate in 2019, the thing that people put their finger on is her lack of decisiveness. And we're going to see that.
I think we have a lot more than just her lack of decisiveness. How about her ability not to have any cognitive thought either?
And the clips we're about to show. That to me is her Achilles heel. That is the thing that bedevils her, because public speaking, she's not a stupid person. Public speaking on tough questions, even if they're not asked in a tough way, involves on your feet making decisions about what to say, and you don't want to annoy anybody or anger anybody.
Understand what he's saying, and you have to really, sometimes with these people when they talk in, esoterically, you have to really drill down. The stuff that he says that's her strong point versus the stuff that he says are her weak points. And now, less than 30 days away from the election, she can't fix the weak points. You don't change your personality and your characteristics in 30 days. It's very hard to change them at all. If I don't like Brussels sprouts, you're not going to make me like Brussels sprouts. And at this point, she is what she is. You're stuck with her. You're not going to change anybody's mind. At this point, all they're trying to do is plug the holes in the dam, because as the more she opens her mouth, people are saying this woman's brain dead. Her policies are brain dead. And so now the widespread panic, as I said, is beginning to show, because now you can't change it. That's why she's begging at this point for another debate on Fox News. Trump, if you or anyone in your party or your camp there are listening, do not do that debate on Fox News. Do not. Ignore it. I don't care if it's Jesse that calls you. Do not do the debate on Fox News. You have no reason to put her on stage and allow her to attack you. She is floundering. Don't do it. Whatever you do, don't do it. Even on X at this point. Well, maybe if Tucker, see if she'll do that. See if she'll do a debate on X with Elon and or Tucker moderating. Yeah, I'd like to see that. She'll never do it, so don't worry about anything. But definitely don't take it on Fox. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Or commit a political error. And her lack of decisiveness in her thinking and in where she wants to end up and then how she expresses it, to me, and I've said this before she was a candidate for president, when she was just quote unquote the vice president, this is her problem. And it's a problem that elected Democrats in Congress and the governors who support her fervently, they know that's her problem. They see it. They watch her speak in public, and they're gritting their teeth and holding their breath, because most of them think, well, I could answer that question better than she can.
They didn't know that 60 days ago? They haven't been around her in Congress while she was a senator? They didn't know as vice president this woman was basically an airhead? Are they just now realizing it? Or are they just now ready to throw her under the bus?
I support her. I want her to win, but it's her lack of decisiveness. And as she has struggled, because she's not ahead, she's even or behind in the battleground states. No,
she's way behind.
As she has struggled, their frustration has grown more vocal. And we saw over the last day, Tammy Baldwin, senator in Wisconsin, her team putting out their polling data. We saw Elise Flotkin, the Senate candidate in Michigan, talking on a fundraising call about her concerns. You hear it from the camp of Governor Shapiro. You hear it from the camp of...
So these people don't want her around because they realize she's a drag on their reelection. Tammy Baldwin may lose simply because of Kamala Harris, so they don't want her around whatsoever.
Governor Cupper, all of them expressing concern and hoping for her to do better. And today was a day. We're talking about Harris a lot on this program for a couple reasons. Okay, we know what Trump is. We don't need to spend every episode talking about January 6th. We'll talk about it if people want to bring it up. What's happening?
No, nobody cares about January 6th. Just you nut job Democrats.
Happening now with Kamala Harris is this is an experiment. Can you win a short campaign with an untested candidate?
Somebody finally said the truth out loud. This is an experiment. Can you really win a campaign, an untested campaign, by hiding her in the basement? They knew this going in. They knew going in that this was BS. They just wanted to see if they could pull it off. That was the only way she could possibly win, is if they hit her like they did Biden, but hit her even more and don't let her speak to anybody. He just said it. It was an experiment. Sometimes experiments go bad and the rat dies. I'm sorry. And right now we're seeing the rat or the mouse, whatever you want to say, keeling over inside of the cage. Y'all tried to run an experiment on the American people. His words, not mine. You didn't have a viable candidate. You had someone, hey, maybe we could make this work. Maybe we can see what happens. I'm not sure. Maybe she could win. After all, it is Trump. Maybe because it's Trump.
And what I'm telling you is happening in private polling is she's got a problem now. Okay? It's not cheering for Trump. It's not predicting Trump will win. She's got a problem. Please bring up the New York Times poll. So a new New York Times poll shows her up 3 nationally. We all know that 3 is like the bubble point, right? If she's up 3, she's got a chance to win the Electoral College, but they'd rather be at 4, and they don't want to be at 2. So 3 is right at the bubble. I'm not saying this Times poll is right. It's in line with other national polls.
If you guys are banking on the New York Times poll as giving you some barometer of the health of her campaign, then you're not that bright. I'm just going to call it.
Now, bring up 102. Wall Street Journal has a story about Democrats really worried about the 3 Rust Belt states. We all know from our contacts in both campaigns that Pennsylvania is tough for her right now. And without Pennsylvania...
That's a euphemism for she can't win it. That's why Trump's in Scranton earlier today and why he's in Reading tonight.
Pennsylvania, there are paths, but there aren't many. There's no path without Wisconsin. So you see here, Tammy Baldwin's Senate campaign poll shows Harris down 3 in Wisconsin. We all said yesterday...
You see why I keep saying it's over? Because even the internal polls that they're trying to embellish, they're seeing right now with less than 30 days to go. It's almost impossible to turn this around. Even if it's only 3. Something would have to happen. They'd have to find Trump with pictures of midgets and, doing crazy stuff. Ain't gonna happen. Nothing that they have done is working. Every single thing they've thrown at this man has failed.
Wisconsin and Michigan are looking worse for Harris than before. Baldwin has her down 3. Not Baldwin has Harris down 3. Why is the Baldwin campaign sharing its polling with the Wall Street Journal? Good question. Sean, why would a campaign share their polling negative for their candidate? Because they want more visits? Is that the reason?
I mean, I think part of this is like a Hillary Clinton redux, which is that you want to make sure people understand what's going on. Plus, you're tied to it. Tammy...
It's a Hail Mary. That's what it is. It's meant to tell all the libnuts out there, hey, we're losing this unless you guys do something. Well, what do you want us to do? We're just supposed to vote for you. I mean, she's the one who's going out there and flubbing everything. She can't fix it.
Baldwin can't win if Kamala Harris loses.
She can. Yeah, she can. She can. I think.
Okay. Well,
in a close race, she can.
Okay, maybe it's not a 5,000 vote squeaker, but I think part of this is to make sure that they understand this. But I will say this, off topic, Alyssa Slotkin said the same thing last week in Michigan. Like, this is
correct.
What came out the other day.
All right, so he's right. So I don't know if you guys heard last week, Alyssa Slotkin, who didn't realize the microphone that was standing in front of her was on, and she said, my internal polls show that we're going to get our butt swamped here in Michigan. So you've got two people running for office who are supposed to be under the Democrat umbrella now ringing the bell and saying, hey, it ain't looking good.
Hey,
Correct. Correct.
They are sending.
I think that's the challenge for Democrats is the trend lines, right? I mean, if you just go back now for the last 3 to 4 weeks in Michigan and in Wisconsin, not that Harris was up, 7 and it went down to 4, down to 1. It's, it's gone from 3 to 2 to 1 to tied. And at the same time,
trend line. Most of you guys may understand, but what he's saying is when you're seeing this, if the line is basically down, you may have a bump, but the trend line is you're just falling off the cliff. That's not good for any candidate.
those Senate candidates, Casey, Slotkin, and Baldwin, are seeing the same trend line.
All much closer.
Right.
By the way,
so you do it to sound the alarm bell. You are sounding the alarm bell in the party.
Yeah, Mark, Dan's right.
What I've been telling you. And there's two of these guys are Democrats. Sean Spicer used to be a press secretary for, I believe it was Trump or Bush. I'm not really sure. But in any event, they're sounding the alarm. Widespread panic. It's over. It's friggin' over. 30 days in, there's not much you can do. Not much at all.
But I could just little asterisk point. I don't want to go on this, but I think it was funny a week ago. You had Chuck Schumer and the D-Trip kind of or the DSCC pivot and say we're going to bail on Montana and go after Texas and Florida on offense. And here they are 7 days later going, oh crap. I mean I just get a kick out of this because after November 5th, we may look back and say, wow, that was a horrible mistake not to fortify the trenches.
And understand what he just said there. Right now you want to fortify the trenches and you want to get ready for basically the 2-minute drill. You can't win if you have no quarterback to drive the team. Trust me, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. Trust me, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I've seen it. If your guy can't do anything, you can't win. Luckily, the Miami Dolphins won last week. But they're 2-3 or whatever it is. Lead quarterback ain't there. Right now, the lead quarterback for the Democrats ain't in the game. Kamala Harris does not have the ability to come back. There's nothing for her to do but, think about it. Where's she going to go at this point? She's been on Howard Stern. She's been on The View. She's been on Colbert. And nothing's working. Where's she going to go next? I can't even imagine. She going to have her own sitcom and basically go on Jimmy Kimmel? Or it doesn't matter. You're not going to pull a rabbit out of your butt less than 30 days away from the end of the game.
I think that move by Schumer was all designed to prevent people from throwing the towel in at the DSCC and all shifting to the CCC.
I know.
And lobbyists switching just to Republicans. They have to pretend they can win the majority. They have to have a talking of.
Did you hear that? They have to pretend that they can win the majority. These two guys on either side of Sean are Democrat operatives, and they're pretty much letting everybody know, it's over.
A path to talk through. For you Harris people on here complaining that we're talking about problems in the Harris campaign, you're welcome to put your head in the sand about it. If you want to go watch MS.
Oh, white dudes from Harris. I don't know who these guys are on the Zoom call, but they're all freaking out going, what do you mean, man? It's all doom and gloom. What are you doing? And he's like, hey, you're welcome to go ahead and tell me what you think the path is here. How are you going to fix this?
NBC primetime and hear how great things are going for the Harris campaign. You're welcome to do that. But if you want to understand what's actually happening, we're here to tell you. I just saw some new private polling today. That's very robust private polling. She's in a lot of trouble.
They're just finally realizing it. Now they're actually telling their compadres out there, oh, God, I don't know, what are we going to do? Oh, white dudes for Harris. Oh, my God. What do you mean? She's in a lot of trouble. She's in a shitload of trouble, bro.
That's how I framed it this morning in my newsletter. The conversation I'm having with Trump people and Democrats with data are extremely bullish on Trump's chances in the last 48 hours. Extreme.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh this way, but I love seeing Democrat funerals like this. The people have been talking on the Trump thing. They're bullish. Bullish meaning the opposite of bearish. You're in a bull market. You're making money. You're putting more into the fund. You can see the win.
Extremely bullish. You think of the 7 battleground states. Which ones is Harris in danger of losing? I would say Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia.
That's all of them. Except for Nevada. He's like, looks like she might lose all of them. You just heard it. This guy's on the inside of the Democrat Party. He used to work for MSNBC, and he's like, she's going to lose all of them except Nevada, maybe.
Not saying she'll lose all 6, but she's in danger. The only one that the Democrats say she's not in danger of losing is the one I never say the name of because I can't pronounce it. But it's where Las Vegas is, right? You guys agree with me? She could lose any of those 6, right? I mean, she could lose all 7, but...
Get your cigars ready. I'm telling you right now, get your cigars ready. Well, Barry, there's a long way to go. No, there's not a long way to go. It's only a short distance ago, and you're talking about the master finisher coming hard. I mean, he's coming hard.
Democrats will tell you they're worried about those 6. They're less worried about the 7th. Yeah. I don't know any Trump person who says they're worried about losing any of the 7. They don't know that they don't necessarily think they're the favorite in Michigan and Wisconsin, but they're not worried about losing it. Right. There's not. You don't hear from them, oh my goodness. What you hear is we're moving up. What the 3 of us are hearing, we're moving up in those 2. We're gonna win. We're gonna win at the 3 Sunbelt states, and we're stronger in Pennsylvania than she is. That to me, if the whole thing's about the Electoral College, you take any of.
What do you mean if? Did y'all catch that? If the whole thing is about the Electoral College. No, it is about the Electoral College. I like to pause these videos because I like you to hear what people say. What do you mean if? Did something change? Did Congress go in and do something? It's no longer the Electoral College. Did Tim Walz get his way? What do you mean if? Because now you're saying if it's about the Electoral College, she's toast.
Any of the Rust Belt states away from her, it's very difficult for her to win. Very difficult. It's not mathematically impossible, but it probably won't happen if she loses any of them.
So, just so you know, she has to take everything. Basically, every battleground state, she's got to take it. What's the likelihood of that happening?
So now, she can replace Pennsylvania with either Georgia, North Carolina, and then one other of the Sunbelt states.
Nevada. Yep.
Well, any of them. If she wins, if she loses Pennsylvania, and she wins either Georgia or North Carolina, then she just needs one of the other 3. And that's not impossible. But what I'm telling you today is things are not moving right for her.
We have some news.
So you think that's bad? Okay. Now I want you to watch the funeral taking place on CNN. CNN gets some data. CNN, the liberal network. They get some data and it's like, really? Is it really that bad? Should we start buying flowers?
CNN reporting today about what is going on behind the scenes inside the Harris campaign and more broadly among Democrats who are growing more and more anxious about a 2016 redux. CNN's Priscilla Alvarez joins.
The 2016 redux. When Hillary Clinton got her ass waxed. And they're seeing the same thing. The same numbers are appearing to them. And now they're saying, oh my God, it's getting ready to happen again. This guy's going to be president, isn't he? Yep. Yeah, he's going to be president. You got, 28 days left? Taking some weekends out there? What are you going to do in 28 days? How are you going to change her?
Me now, Priscilla, we were just joking here at the table that anxious Democrats happen on a day that ends in Y. But this is something that perhaps is warranted given the data that they're seeing. Explain your great reporting.
Yeah, look, that's exactly right, Dana. And this has been a campaign that was described by multiple Democrats, allies, aides, to the vice president as a good vibes campaign. But what
good vibes don't pay the rent. You can't buy groceries with good vibes.
It's also creeping in now is that anxiety. The reason for that is because these polls are not really moving. Despite multiple battleground blitzes, despite the opportunities she has had across media outlets, there is still not a lot of movement from voters who...
So let me interpret that. Nothing's working. We're throwing everything against the wall like spaghetti and nothing's sticking. We don't have anything else for her to do. What's she going to do? Go on a hunting trip and show people that she's pro-Second Amendment and shoot a deer? Well, I mean, she's going to go fishing so she can show people, I'm a real person, but don't put a shovel in my hand because I don't know how to use that thing. What's she going to do? Tampon Timmy? Trump is killing him. And they're all realizing right now, oh man, here it comes, 2016 all over again. Widespread panic.
Are moving more towards her versus former President Donald Trump. In fact, I had one source describe it to me this way, quote, people are nervous. They know the polls are tight. And a lot of us are having these flashbacks to 2016 too. We know when it can go the wrong way and it can still feel fresh. So
then you have to say, okay, why are they making all this information public? I'll tell you before Trump gets on stage, but let's finish this.
2016 is the key here. When I've talked to Harris campaign officials, it often comes up in conversation. Where did Hillary Clinton have her pitfalls? And where can they make up that ground and build on what Joe Biden did in 2020? One of those, to give you an example, is those red and rural districts. Look at
problem with that. Hillary Clinton, although we don't like her whatsoever, was a very polished politician. You know, we can call her all the problems that she is. Crooked Hillary and everything else, but you all have to admit she was a formidable opponent. She was an accomplished speaker. She could do things. Kamala Harris can't do any of the stuff that Hillary Clinton could do.
For example, Cambria County in Pennsylvania. Now, former President Donald Trump won in that county, but the former President Biden was able to gain some ground there, more than Hillary Clinton.
Again, even Joe Biden, an accomplished, polished politician when his brain was working.
Had in 2016. The vice president has already visited twice. And so that is the type of strategy that they're trying to deploy to try to make up that ground where they saw Hillary Clinton wasn't able to in 2016. Then, too, there's the mobilizing. Talk to Democrats. They're always pretty boastful about their ground game, and they continue to be so, but that needs to turn into votes. So certainly some anxiety and nerves setting in as Election Day gets closer and those polls are just remain deadlocked.
So what you just heard, my friends, was a prayer. You should just said amen. Just like the movie. When I hear a prayer, I say amen. Because what they just did was a prayer for the dead. And I took that from a movie with Danny DeVito called Other People's Money. Because in order for them to win, this thing's got to happen and that thing's got to happen. And it ain't going to happen.